Called to order. Number 3, adopt minutes of May 24th, 2022. Anyone have any changes that they've seen or want to make corrections on?
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Minutes pass. And moving on to item 4, a public hearing for conditional use permit amendment, site expansion for, I'm probably going to butcher it, Washi Commercial Finishes at 21335 Aberdeen Street Northeast with Matt. Stephanie?
Yep, so the property is located, if you look up on the screen, it's on 65 and Sims, going east on Sims, it's right there on Aberdeen Street. Mr. Washi is requesting an amendment to the CUP to expand his business, which is known as Washi Commercial Finishes. The business has been in operation since 1986. He's been operating out of the current East Bethel location since 2004. So if you look on the right, there's an aerial. You'll see the existing building up there. So that's where he's been since 2004. And the property east of it is the one we'll be talking about tonight, where he would like to expand his business. So in 2004, the existing zoning for this area was neighborhood center, so NC, and they did allow construction, trade, and service businesses with limited outdoor storage as a CUP. Therefore, a CUP was approved to allow this business to operate from the current location. The business has outgrown its site, the indoor and outdoor space, and he would like to remain in East Bethel. The owner's proposing to purchase the 1.03 acre parcel that you see up there to the east. As shown in the owner's letter, the expansion would include a 7,200 square foot building and a fenced area which would be used for parking of work vehicles and trailers. All product would be stored within the new building. The amendment to the original CUP is required for the following reasons. One, this business is a legal non-conforming use, which means that the business is legal because the CUP was previously approved. However, current city code does not allow for this type of business in the B2 Central Business District, therefore it's non-conforming. However, city council does have the authority to determine if a legal non-conforming use can be expanded. Then also, once a conditional use expands its footprint, an amendment to the original CUP is also required. The next steps in the process, if the conditional use permit amendment is approved, a formal site plan will be submitted for review by Planning Commission and City Council and will need to be approved. As for calls, public hearing notices were sent out. I received one call today from the neighbor who is directly south on Sims Road, and she's in favor of it. She just had a question about the site plan review, just wanted to make sure that the driveway location is not off of Sims and rather off of Davenport, because Sims is a very busy road. She said there is a lot of traffic and it'd be better just to have the entrance point off of Davenport. That was her only comment on it. Otherwise, she's fine with the business going there. So at this time, staff recommends the commission review the conditional use permit request, hold the public hearing, and make a recommendation to City Council with the conditions set forth in attached resolution 2022-50. And the business owner is here tonight to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Stephanie.
One question. Stephanie, just for clarification, there have been no issues regarding the existing business, and we haven't had any complaints or anything like that from neighbors?
That's correct. We've never had any complaints. He's always had a very clean site and a good neighbor to the neighbors out there.
I didn't think so because there was nothing in your statement, but I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Great. Seeing as we need to hold a public hearing, I'll go ahead and open it at this time. Anybody who wishes to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-50, approving a conditional use amendment to allow the expansion of a legal non-conforming use at 21335 Aberdeen Street Northeast, East Bethel, pin 083323430015.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Do we want to have any discussion?
I have a question. Does the owner currently, are they the owners of this property that they're going to expand to, or do they have to purchase it?
They're in the process of purchasing it. We wanted to make sure that they could have the amendment prior to purchasing it.
Okay.
However, they do, I believe it's the first of the years when they'll take ownership of it.
Okay.
Any other discussion items?
I am seeing here on page 18, it does look like the entrance to that lot is from Davenport. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
when the site plan review comes forward. That's where it will be, is off Davenport.
If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Passes.
And this will be heard at the September 12th City Council meeting, starting at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right. Moving on.
All right, hold on a second.
Here we are. Item 5, public hearing and preliminary plat for the PUD for Stone Group, second edition, 209th Avenue, Highway 65, Stone Group LLC.
So this one is located on the southwest corner of 209th and 65, as you can see right there. This one has been in front of you before. I know, my computer's not working, so. So here's the plat. The Planning Commission's asked to review and hold the public hearing for the preliminary plat planned unit development for Stone Group Commercial Second Edition as requested by Stone Group LLC. A little bit of background on this one, as some of you have been on the commission when this came forward prior. So November 23rd of 2021, the commission held the public hearing to discuss a concept plan that looked very similar to this, at which time the commission was not in favor of the concept plan because of the number of variances required to move forward with a plat. It moved on to City Council on December 23rd. Council discussed the concept plan, and they also had the same concerns as Planning Commission. They concurred that they didn't want it moving forward with so many of the variances. So on March 7th of 2022, the Commission and Council held a joint work session to provide direction to the developer. The meeting minutes are attached for your review in your packet. Both Commission and Council supported it coming forward as a planned unit development. So the proposed preliminary plat, PUD as we call them, meets the recommendations provided to the developer. The plat shows 5 commercial lots on the east side of Johnson Street and an outlot on the west side of the street that will be subdivided in the future. West side right now, it's zoned residential. We're not going to be touching that at this time. Since the commercial side of the property is zoned B2, central business, the types of uses could include, but aren't limited to, restaurants, tap rooms and breweries, offices, retail services, motor vehicle stations, which is gas stations, any type of medical uses, that sort of thing. Exterior storage is limited in this area. They're limited to 100 square feet with an approved conditional use permit, so these properties won't be used for heavy uses that need a lot of exterior storage. All the lot sizes are, say, so like lot 1 is 1.65 acres, lot 2 will be 2.96 acres, lot 3 is 3.08, 4 is 3.15, 5 is 3.20, and then the outlot is 17 acres. Again, there's going to be nothing developed on that. Each building that we built on these, so each building will come forward is a site plan review, but each of those buildings need to meet the architectural standards set forth in city code. And they'll also include the following. They will have four-sided architecture. Each wall of the building needs to be constructed so that all exterior sides are surfaced equivalent to the front of the building. A minimum of the public right-of-way sides need to have a 30% of the facade needs to be glass, so windows in there, and then at least 50% of all exterior finishes need to have at least 2 different types of materials. As for landscaping, they also need to meet the standards set forth in code, but also each lot needs to be irrigated, and then there will be additional plantings required along the west side of the property to provide adequate screening from the future residential development to the west. And again, these will all come forward as individual site plans, so we'll see the landscaping and the architecture of the buildings at that time when they come forward. For utilities, they're gonna have individual septic and wells. However, each new building is required to stub utilities from the building to the back of the curb. So once available, businesses will be required to hook up to municipal sewer and water at the expense of the business, so they'll be ready to go. As for park dedication, that was satisfied for plating of the first edition, and the first edition was when it came in and where Dollar General is located. So as part of the plat for Stone Group Commercial, again, the developer paid all park dedication fees for the entire plat, including the outlots. Therefore, no additional fees will be collected at this time. At this time, staff's requesting the Planning Commission hold the public hearing and provide a recommendation of approval to City Council with the conditions set forth in Resolution 2022-52. And we do have representatives from Stone Group LLC to answer questions that you may have.
Thank you, Stephanie. Seeing it's a public hearing, we'll go ahead and open it. Anyone who wishes to speak on this at this time, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Before discussion, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion for the approval of resolution number 2022-51, approving the preliminary plat and planned unit development of Stone Group Commercial Second Edition for property legally described as Stone Group Commercial Outlot A.
I'll second.
Oh. Is it 51 or 52? I'm sorry.
51.
It was 51 in my packet.
Okay, sorry, I saw it in 2 different ways in here. Under action required, it said 52, so I misread it. Motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
So I have a question. This agreement includes Outlot A,
Just making sure.
and it's also the title of the resolution. And yet, from what I'm reading, Outlot A is really not supposed to be part of this resolution.
Correct, but how resolutions work is we have to put what the actual legal description of the property is at the time of preliminary plat. And preliminary plat, it's Stone Group Commercial Outlot A.
Okay. So therefore, even though it's listed as being one of the lots in the lot sizes where it says, I understand it says the lot width is not applicable, I'm still not really seeing that it's, I mean, it almost seems to me that it should be separated out of this agreement. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
What should be separated out?
Outlot A.
Outlot A.
This is Outlot A. So what they're platting right now is called Stone Group Commercial Outlot A. So that's why the legal is that, because that's what they're platting. That's the legal description of the lot that they're platting.
Right,
So when we come with the resolution for the final plat, it's going to stay Stone Group Commercial, second edition. It'll have
Okay.
the new legal description, but right now, this is the legal description of the property.
Because it's the preliminary plat
Mhm.
of Outlot A.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And then when it's final, it'll be
Yep.
the second edition. Yes, would you like to come?
I just have one question.
Mhm.
We have minor adjustments to the lot width and the acreage.
Yes, yes. Yes, I want to bring that up. So for the lot widths, as you see it in your resolution, there's a couple that are going to be tweaked a little bit. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, if you could come to the podium or give it to Steph. Yep.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So as your resolution, and this is what I'll need to make corrections in the resolution as well. So if you go to your resolution, lot sizes, so you have lot number 1, lot size is 1.65 acres. And then for lot width, it just says corner lot. So right now, what we'll be putting down there as 209th in parentheses, so the side that's abutting 209th, that lot width will be 245 feet, 0.9 inches. And then for the Johnson Street side, it's going to be 367 feet. So then lot 2 is 2.96 acres. That still will be 108.31 feet. And lot 3, 3.08 acres. That will remain as 300 feet. Lot 4,
Which is correct on the attachment in our packet.
excuse me?
Those are correct on
Yeah,
our
these,
attachment, right?
we got these updates just recently.
Okay.
Okay, so lot number 3, the lot size will be 3.13 acres. A lot width is 300 feet. Lot 4, the lot size is 3.16 acres,
Oh, okay.
and the lot width will be 300 feet. On lot 5, the lot size will be 3.15 acres, and the lot width will be 300 feet. And then Outlot A stays the same.
Okay.
So do we need to
Amend.
Amend the
amend
emotion.
amend the motion?
Yes.
Can you please tell me again about lot 1 and lot 2, please?
Yep, so lot 1, lot size is 1.65 acres, and the width on 209th will be 245.9 feet. The width on Johnson Street will be 367 feet. And then lot 2, lot size is 2.96 acres, and the lot width is 108.31 feet.
So the changes are with the lot width on 1, the acres on 3, 4, and 5, and the width of the lot on 4.
That's correct.
Those are the changes,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Very well. I will amend my motion to include changes to the lot sizes for lot 1 to be 245.9 feet. Lot number 3 to be 3.13 acres. Lot number 4 to be 3.16 acres, and a change in the lot width to 300 feet. And lot number 5 to be 3.15 with no change to the lot width.
There's a motion for an amendment. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great. Any discussion on the amendment, or should we go right to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the amendment passes to the motion. Any further discussion on the motion with the amendment?
That's
Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes. Stephanie, this goes before City Council.
On September 12th at 7 PM.
Thank you. Great, and thank you, developer, for the added information.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for
Yep.
reminding me.
No, we appreciate the help. All right, moving on, agenda item number 6, a site plan review for 1341 187th Lane Northeast, Holiday Station Stores, also known as River County Co-op. Stephanie?
Yes, so the location of this is on Highway 65 and 187th Lane. It's the current site of Speedway. River County Co-op's requesting a site plan review of a new 6,700 square foot commercial building. The existing Speedway and fuel structures will be demolished and to be replaced with a new ground-up facilities, including a car wash, fueling systems, and structures. Staff has reviewed the site plan. It's been determined that the site plan meets city code requirements, and staff supports the configuration, architectural standards, site circulation, lighting, landscaping of the proposed plan. The zoning ordinance, section 10-24, motor vehicle service station, addresses the general development requirements for motor vehicle service stations. Staff's reviewed these requirements and has found that the plan adequately addresses all these requirements. The landscape plan meets the requirements of the city code. If the plantings and grass aren't completed prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy, the applicant will be required to establish an escrow to ensure completion no later than 8 months after the issuance of the certificate of occupancy. And the city engineer is the one that does establish the amount of the required landscape escrow. The site plan shows 32 parking stalls, which includes 2 accessible stalls. This does meet the requirements for city code. The circumference of the parking lot includes 8 pole lights with additional lighting on the building and under the canopies. In addition to lighting under the canopies also have LED strips along the outer edge of the area to illuminate the rest of the paved area. And this lighting plan not only provides lighting for the site, but it also creates a very safe, lit up site, which is good. So the architectural design of this building, it is similar to the Holiday Station store that's recently been built in Ham Lake, located on the southeast corner of Highway 65 and Crosstown Boulevard. The building exterior is comprised of brick with a secondary brick trim. The structure meets the B2 central business requirements and also has the 20% of the facade facing the public right-of-way as being glass. And again, architectural design does meet the requirements set forth in code. So at this time, staff recommends the commission to review the site plan and make a recommendation of approval to the city council with the conditions set forth in resolution 2022-52 with the accompanied exhibits. And we have representatives of River County Co-op here to answer any questions that you may have.
Great, thank you, Stephanie.
I do have a question, but maybe the representative can answer it better. How does the size, the 6,700 square foot building, compare to the one on Crosstown? Is it the same or is it smaller?
I'm sorry.
If you could stand to the podium, sorry, if you can come up to the podium, speaking to the microphone. Just so it's easy to hear anybody listening,
Yeah.
you can never hear in the audience.
So it's going to be very similar, but it'll be just a little bit smaller. It will
Okay.
be 6 feet less deep.
Really?
Otherwise,
Okay.
it'll be
Well,
same.
looking at the lot, I couldn't figure out how you get the same size there, but you know, the visual and the numbers don't. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Gives us
appreciate
a
it.
good idea.
Great.
All right.
Anyone else have, I don't believe we need a motion at this point just to discuss the site plan, so.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
a resolution.
Hmm?
This is a resolution.
It's a review, site plan review.
I mean, we could discuss it without having it just for the review, but if we want to make a motion and then discuss it, that's fine as well. I'd entertain a motion.
I have a question. How much larger is the new station compared to the current one?
Oh, yeah, that's good. I think it's,
If you could state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Stephanie.
I'm Olaf Johnson, River Country Cooperative, St. Paul. I live in St. Paul. We're just under 3,000 square feet right now, so it's gonna a little more than double
okay.
what the size is there.
Great,
Thank you.
appreciate it. I'll go ahead and make a motion to to approve the site plan review as set forth in resolution 2022-52 and its accompanied exhibits as it reads currently.
I second.
Any further discussion on the resolution?
I would like to amend the current resolution. Under the resolution, now therefore be it resolved under number 4, it currently states, if landscaping is not installed prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy, the applicant must establish an escrow. And my concern is that I think it should be restated that the applicant must establish an escrow for landscaping in order to receive the certificate of occupancy if landscaping is not completed. Because I believe that it should state that escrow is established before they receive the certificate of occupancy.
What's the standard on that for construction in the city?
That's how we do it. We always just take the escrow before the certificate of occupancy.
So right now there's a motion for an amendment. Is there a second to that or not before we have discussion on it? I'm not hearing a second. So
I'll second it.
Oh, you'll second it? Great, thank you. Any discussion on the amendment then?
So what you're asking is that before they're allowed to operate, that either the landscaping is done or the escrow is collected? Is that
Yeah.
Correct.
That,
And that's the requirement now, but just to
Okay.
word it so it.
Okay,
yeah.
so you're just wanting to change the verbiage so
I'm
that's
just
more clear.
changing the
Yeah.
verbiage.
Yeah, okay.
now Stephanie, would that change from what the city currently has for everything else when we do this, or
It would not with the.
it would
the
be just
verbiage
this
change.
one?
Mhm.
Okay.
It would all still mean the same, it's just it's a clarification of how we collect the escrows.
Gotcha, because as of right now, you're saying the escrow
Mm-hmm.
they still wouldn't get their certificate of occupancy,
No, not unless they have the escrow established, correct.
not without the escrow. So same principle, just different verbiage.
Right. Clarification. Mhm.
Oh, yes, sir.
I just want to, on the first page of the resolution, whereas it says River County Co-op, and we're actually River Country. So
Oh.
it looks like it's
Oh.
it looks like it's a typo.
Typo.
We
Yeah.
be sure to
Thank you
correct
for
that. Thank
that.
you for that.
Thank you.
Yep.
You don't need a motion for that, do you?
No, we
Stephanie?
do not.
Right now, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the amendment, or we can call for a vote? Any other discussion?
We don't have to establish the verbiage for this amendment, that can be done by city
I-
staff?
I spoke the verbiage that I
Yeah,
needed to change it
okay.
to,
Mhm.
which is applicant must establish an escrow for landscaping in order to receive the certificate of occupancy if landscaping is not completed. Rather than if landscaping is not installed prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy, the applicant must establish an escrow.
Me personally, if it's not really changing anything, I don't see a reason to change it, but again, I'm not gonna argue it either. Again, if it's working now, then it's working, it's not a problem. But that's
Well,
just my take.
I guess I can appreciate your
Yep.
point, and I agree with it to a point, except for this is a legal binding document.
Yep.
And the last thing you want to do is have that verbiage not be definitive.
Understand as well. With that, if there's no other discussion, go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Amendment passes to the motion. So now it's back to the motion with the amendment, with the changed verbiage. Any further discussion? If there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor of the motion with the amendment? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Motion and amendment pass.
Yeah, and this will also be held at the September 12th City Council meeting at 7 PM.
Thank you. And moving on. City council
Board
report.
updates.
Or sorry. Thank you. Sorry, my moving slow today. City council update? I have it right. I don't know why this is scrolling so slow.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. Thank you for attending tonight's meeting instead of playing hooky in this fine summer evening that, with fall coming up, we're counting our days. So thank you for your dedication to the city. I'm Brian Mundell. I'm your City Council liaison. A few things have happened since we've had our last meeting. It's been about 2 months, I believe. With our broadband study the city conducted, Anoka County chose to conduct a countywide broadband study as well. In doing so, they had made certain commitments that they may reimburse the city of East Bethel for the cost of our broadband study. And I'd like to say congratulations to the county. They came through with their commitment and they have reimbursed the city about $70,000, I believe,
Wow.
for the cost of our study.
So
So
commend the
that,
council back and staff for making that happen.
yep. And
Yes.
so that money can now go towards furthering broadband projects that we will figure out in the next stages of our discussions and studies of this. Of course, right now, we're working on the city budget this time of year. Our fire chief, Mark Ducharme, is unfortunately retiring October 14th. He has some very large shoes to fill, and in anticipating to fill that, we have advertised and have gotten a number of applicants, and we are now interviewing. There have been, I think, 2 days of interviews so far with applicants. And it sounds like we have some very good applicants, so I'm eager to see the results of that. The interview board that we have is made up of 2 council members, city administrator, city finance officer, and Mr. Ducharme himself. I believe that's everybody that's included in that. So, as many of you have probably met right before the meeting, we have a new city employee, Aaron Berg, as a new city planner for the city. The city is very fortunate to have him, I believe. He has lots of talents to bring towards the city, and I hope he plans to stay here a long, long time. In our September work meeting, among other items, one item that we will be discussing is the hemp-based edible THC ordinance. If you've been following some of this, the state, either by mistake or on purpose, approved certain edible amounts for THC, but they did that without establishing any ordinance or anything else. They leave that up to the cities themselves to do that. Many cities have elected to
Moratorium.
thank you, Tanner, have a moratorium on them. But with putting a moratorium on that, to come up with the ordinance, it's also required that you have to do a study.
Which also may obligate you to create an ordinance anyway.
Yes, but a lot of cities are using that as taking that time, but in our talk so far, we don't feel that a study is warranted, that it can be, ordinance can be in place similar to how we control tobacco and et cetera. So by this September, we should have our first draft of this ordinance that the city attorney has put together. And the city attorney has a member in their office that this has become her specialty since this was approved, and she has been working on this, and I'm eager to see how this looks.
Great.
And then Fall Town Hall meeting, November 16th. Mark it on your calendars. Tell your neighbors. Make sure to come.
You said November 16th?
November 16th, yes. So that is my report. Any questions do you have of me?
I got one.
Sure.
It's my understanding with the broadband, and again, congratulations again, and great job between council and staff for, again, recouping those funds back to the city to reinvest. It's my understanding the county also has grant money that's
Yes.
potentially available to help subsidize or the cable companies'
Yes.
costs to bring to neighborhoods that are currently underserviced or not serviced at all.
Yep, Midco already has, we actually, EDA had a meeting with Midco representatives last week, and very productive meeting, and they went over future projects that they have, and the projects that they have currently planned will take into account some of the neighborhoods that have already been identified as having little or no broadband, or broadband that isn't up to
Adequate level.
the state level that is required. As far as future projects beyond that will be identifying, the county has a 50-50 grant. So it'd be 50% matching funds. And also with coming out of that meeting is that the service areas are being not remapped, but how it's been determined that areas served at, say, call it 1,000 by 1,000 block, it could be more or less. But if there's 15 residents in that block, but only one gets the required amount of internet speed, it's deemed that that section is served. Now, what the federal government is requesting is that those maps be updated per address to better identify areas of need. And that map should be completed by in the second quarter of next year. And with that completion, there will also be more federal grants.
Great. No, I look forward to that. That's definitely something to be.
Hey, Brian, a question. So how would a resident know if they're in one of the neighborhoods deemed to not have appropriate service?
There, you would want to do a speed test on your upload and download, and then report to city council, or not city council, but the city administrator. He's taking
Midco, into Midco as well.
Yeah, or Midco. And I don't remember the upload and download speeds off the top of my head, but I think it's 120, 100 download, 20 upload.
If I can, Brian.
Yeah.
I believe it's to be considered to be serviced with broadband, it's 100 down and like 25 or 50 up, or no, 30 up, I believe it is.
It's something
Yeah.
within
But
those.
but if it's less than 25 down, it's considered not service because that's not considered broadband internet. Although it is internet, it's not considered broadband.
Yeah.
And
So-
Karen, I have those maps as well, so you can contact me and I can show you their project maps of the areas that they're gonna be concentrating on.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that some of these neighborhoods don't already have that, they just might not have purchased that speed, but there are areas that can't even get
And
those
they-
speeds
They
because
just
they're
have
there's not there.
DSL that's 3 megabyte download.
Right.
Yep,
Right.
and some
Yeah.
of it's still old copper wire that they can upgrade to fiber and
Right.
things like that.
Because I
so.
know the city had, where it was requesting people just submit if they had slow speeds, and I suggested it'd be wonderful if they had a link for residents to actually click on for doing the test speeds, you know, so that the data could be provided.
Well, for anyone who's listening, they just, again, a minor IT background, but really even just, if you open an internet search and type the word speed test, even Google right on their page without going to another one will have a button there to run speed test and it will tell you what your up and down is.
I
Or
think that's speedtest.net.
Yep.
And there's also an app that you can download, at least on your Android, and I assume also on your Apple devices as well. But that you could actually test it over your mobile.
Midco.com, go to speed test at midco.com.
Mr. Butler's.
The wise is, if you have a wireless router, bypass the router so that you're going direct from the Midco router into your computer. There's 250,000 download speed difference between my wireless router and what actually my speed was. If I had a 350,000 download speed, through my router it was 50.
So just to reiterate, especially for anyone watching, because I know we can't hear you in the audience, what Mr. Butler was saying is that another proper way to make sure you're checking your internet speed appropriately is being directly connected to your router, or sorry, to your modem, and bypassing your router because that will give you the most direct indication of what speeds you're getting. Your home Wi-Fi routers may already have limitations that don't go beyond 100 megabytes or less.
Yep.
So by being directly connected to your most up-to-date modem in the house, plugged directly in with an Ethernet cord, can vary internet speeds by hundreds of megabytes.
Right, and I was just asking too on behalf of residents like me where we have no cable and it's satellite internet only, so just wanted to make sure everybody's doing the right thing to
Yes.
test.
No, it's very important. I think it's a great thing, and I'm glad the city's on the forefront of it. So, again, thank you for your efforts.
Absolutely. Any other questions, comments?
Yes, you had mentioned that Mark Descharme, the fire chief, was going to retire here in October and that you are currently in the process of selecting his replacement. When does the city/council expect to be completed with that process in order to have a new fire chief?
I couldn't tell you that yet. Whenever interviews are deemed completed and somebody is chosen, but it will be before October.
Yep, they're hoping to have it on the September 12th city council meeting.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if there's nothing else,
No,
hopefully I'll see you in another month.
look forward to it.
Have a good evening.
You as
Thank
well.
you.
Any other business, or if not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
There's a
Second?
motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Enjoy your evenings. Thank you everyone for coming as well.
That's good.